How to use iteration structure. First, we'll see how to code while statements. The while loop in Python is used to iterate over a block of code as long as the test expression, that is the condition, oftentimes it is a Boolean expression, is true. We generally use this loop when we don't know the number of times to iterate beforehand. The syntax of the while statement looks something like this. While Boolean expression. This is also called the test expression. This checks whether we are going to enter into the loop or not. So if the expression is true, we will go into the loop and execute the statements within the loop. If not, we will directly move on to the rest of the code. An example of while loop is, suppose I take a variable IP is equal to input and I say something. And then I'll write enter 0 to stop. Actually, first I'll write enter 0 to stop and then I'll write say something. The aim of this code is to create a conversation agent which would listen to the user until the user says stop. So the user will press 0 to stop the conversation. We write while IP is not equal to 0. 0 will be in the string form because we have not typecasted the input. And, while IP is not equal to 0, that means while the user has told not to stop, we will print I am listening. And it will keep taking the input. So IP is equal to again input. Please continue. We can write over here at the top, press 0 to stop, just as a hint for the user. Next, we are going to run this code and it says enter 0 to stop, say something. So I wrote hi and now the code says I'm listening, press 0 to stop this conversation. Then it's written please continue. I've written good morning. Now if I press 0, it exits the code. This is how a basic while loop works. Let's see another example with numbers involved. So let's take a variable num is equal to int input, enter the number. Next, we will print numbers from 0 to whatever number is given by the user. So we'll initialize I is equal to 0 and then we'll start with our while loop. While I is less than or equal to num, the input given by the user, print I is equal to I plus 1. So we increment I at each iteration. If we don't increment I, it will be an infinite loop. So it will just keep printing I, because I will always be less than num. Because if I is not incremented, I will always be 0 and 0 will always be less than or equal to whatever the user has entered. So enter a number, so I have written 10 and now it printed the numbers from 0 to 10. Let's see an example of the infinite loop. Infinite loop is basically if the loop keeps on running, if the Boolean expression or the test expression always evaluates to true, the loop will keep running without an end. So that will be an infinite loop. So I'll just hard code here while 1 is less than or equal to num, which is true. Unless we put a number 0 or something, but we are specifically going to put the number as greater than 1. So I said 5. Now see, it keeps on going. Only way to stop this is I press Ctrl C. So it creates a keyboard interrupt and it stops. So you can see it has written all these lines, all these numbers from 0 to 250 until I stopped it. We wanted only 5 numbers, but it kept printing until we interrupted it. So this is how a while loop works in Python, and this is how it is used in iterative structure of the code.